Hello students, welcome to this ethics class. Today we will be discussing 2019 question 12. This is the question. So whenever we try to improve values in civil services, three things come to our mind. One is anticipating specific threats to ethics, then strengthening the ethical competence of civil servants, and third is developing such administrative processes and practices that promote ethical values. So UPSC has asked, please suggest some institutional measures that will help us in addressing these issues. So let us see. I have listed some measures. One is how do we anticipate threats? One is we can take global reports. We can contribute to global report and as well as access them. Then we can ourselves develop some indices like transparency index, corruption perception index, etc. And we can develop and we can apply these indices to various government agencies so that we get to know where there is threat, more threat, where there is less threat. So we get some kind of threat analysis. We can also directly take feedback from citizens. That allows us to anticipate threats because citizens themselves would have faced some sort of corruption. Then we can also take suggestions from these public officers like public information officers, CVC, Lokpal, anti-corruption bureaus, election commission, ARC reports, etc. Since they are primarily there to uphold values, so they would have lot of experience and they get up-to-date information on the activities of government. So we can take suggestions directly from there to anticipate threats. We can also take help from public discourse, journalistic investigations, civil society, etc. For example, politicization of bureaucracy was highlighted significantly in news and also in investigations. And we can also check scope for arbitrary and discretionary actions, partiality, etc. because or opacity, because when there is scope, then there is chance for undermining the values. For example, if there is transparency, then people will try to uphold values. On the other hand, if there is opacity and if there is chance to do whatever they want, then there is chance to undermine values. So we will check whether the processes which government follows or the kind of decision making that takes place has scope for all these incidents. Then we need to strengthen the ethical competence for the ethics training, and also justifications is very important. Until and unless you understand and believe ethics, until and understand you believe it, you won't follow it. And justification is major role. And we can also create platforms, alliances and associations for mutual support and best practices sharing. For example, you might even want mutual support. For example, people with ethical behavior, if they support each other, then there is more chances of ethical behavior. Then there will be more competence. So we need to have some sort of online or offline platform or associations or alliances so that we can share our best practices, so we can support each other. Then we can have community engagements and linking deeply with communities we serve. For example, when we link with our communities, we understand their issues well, we feel that they are our own community and we serve better. And UPSC already conducts ethics papers in recruitment exams. It also tests ethics in interviews. Ethics are tested everywhere, from prelims to the interview, much more in mains and interview. And Citizens Charter would consistently remind public officials of their values, of their accountability, and also set certain standards for public services. And we can adopt such an administrative processes and practices that we can adopt, or some of them are automatic online disclosure of all government information with easy search options for complete transparency. This also reduces the burden of RTA because when information is already available, there is no need to file RTA. This provides information necessary to hold public servants accountable, making them more cautious. This is not some random idea or utopia. Developed countries have a lot of transparency and it is the only way future Even in India in 2021, a draft bill was being made by central government. Just recently, yesterday, it has invited public consultation and public comments on this bill. It is nothing but, according to this bill, all the information of the government will be available online in easy search options by default. Until and unless there is some sensitive information, by default all the government information will be disclosed. This applies to central government, and state government have other options. This is because transparency is the only way forward, because public offices exist because of public money and for public benefit. As such, public are the bosses of public office. We can also increase objectivity in decision making. Objectivity removes avenues for arbitrary and discretionary actions. For example, when we consider vertical devolution of funds, there is criteria for forest, income distance, etc. So based on that, it automatically funds get dispersed. There is no chance for doing anything else or arbitrary actions. So similarly, we can have scientific indices and data. If we introduce objectivity, then this arbitrariness gets removed. Then decentralization is another measure. Decentralization increases greater public control over government decisions. We can also use technologies like e-governance that eliminate avenues that undermine values. For example, faceless IT assessment, in-camera proceedings, direct benefit transfers, etc. And we can also practices like auctions that remove chances of nepotism and partiality. For example, if there is online auctions, then there is no chance for nepotism and partiality. And if we see, it comes to around 196 words. So that is it. You need to be able to identify the measures that we can take so that we can address these three fundamental issues. These are the fundamental issues that are necessary to improve the ethics in civil services. That is all. Thank you.